Good morning, good afternoon, good night, wherever you are. Welcome to Ricochet Community Call number 6. A lot of cool things happened over the last 2 weeks. So without further ado, let's start talking about them. So first off, we're going to talk about the start of our bounty program. If you're in our Discord, you will have noticed that people have started earning different things for started earning Rick for doing different tasks on the front end on media creation. So we're going to review how that has gone on and the overall kind of structure of that bounty program. We're then going to discuss the deployment of our rexSLP token so you can finally real-time invest into sushi LP positions. And we're going to talk about just how that went on and just the kind of infrastructure there and how that will look going forward. And last, we're going to just provide general updates on the state of Ricochet and just some overall business development, just general updates. So let's talk about our bounty program. So bounty hunting has begun. Let's review how it transpired over the last week. All right, so the first thing to note about this bounty program is that our rewards are denominated in RIC, and that RIC is priced by the Ricochet Launchpad. So if you're on the user interface, you can see that RIC is priced basically by dividing the total value streaming by investors over the weekly emission rate. And so currently it's flowing around 30 cents. So if you're earning, $300 for a bounty, you're earning, what is that, 1,000 RIC. So that's essentially the way it works there. And so you can find these bounties. They're listed out in our docs right here. I'm going to pull this up and we're going to just kind of run through how it looks. So it's listed on the bottom here, bounty hunters. You can see that we have a variety of front-end issues to solve. We have bounties up for different media creation tasks and just some back-end tasks as well with keepers and supply and price endpoint APIs. And so one of the other important things I want to point out is that we also reward people for referring other contributors. So if you refer someone who completes a bounty, you will earn 20% of that, bounty amount to yourself pretty much. It's not going to be taken from the person who completes the bounty, of course. It's just going to be 20% of that equivalent value is going to come to you and Rick. So that's important there as we try to, expand our DAO and contributor ecosystem. And so you can also view our front-end issues here. And you can see how much value is attached to these bounties in RIC. So this is $50 bounty, 100, 250, and they range all the way up to 500 or based on complexity. So that's awesome. And yeah, one of the most important bounties here right now at the moment is the capturing of the amount approved in our upgrade widget. So currently it's when you upgrade a ERC20 to a super token for streaming, say you want to stream your USDC into USDC. Say you want to upgrade your USDC into USDCX so you can stream it to Bitcoin or something. That widget, the upgrade widget, isn't properly querying the amount of USDC you've approved to upgrade into USDCX. And so that widget is sometimes erroring out, and it's being a little inconsistent. And so currently we're kind of pointing people towards the Superfluid dashboard when they run into issues there, but we would like to have that fixed on our app very soon. So that's the status there. We'll bring this again. Yeah, and so currently we have had 4 of our community members achieve bounty payouts this week. First off was Fugu. He made this amazing tutorial on using Ricochet Exchange. Fugu is part of the Creator DAO, so it's really cool that this project caused attention and he's kind of contributing here. His tutorial was displayed when we spoke at the MakerDAO core unit, the 10th MakerDAO core unit tools call last week. So really appreciate his work there. Nasser, he interviewed me and he put together this really cool snazzy promo clip talking about the power of Ricochet Exchange and dollar cost averaging and real-time investing. You can view that on our Twitter. It definitely got us a lot of traction there, which was really appreciated. And then we also have OX Kowloon. he implemented the max button on the UI. It was a pretty nice feature on our previous UI, but it wasn't there when we upgraded it with our redesign. And so he was able to add it back, which was fantastic. And then we also have Crypto who puts together our French article, basically a article explaining Ricochet in French, so that people in the French community could pick up on us easier, which was fantastic.
We also forgot to add George, who has done a bunch of miscellaneous work on the front end.
Right. George has done a bunch of things,
including most recently, he just lined up everything, which I think looks really nice, because before it was all crooked and a little jagged, but now it's all lined up. So George should be on the list as well.
Right. Yeah, and I believe there are a few other people.
I think we owe George some
bounty
money.
We have not paid them out yet. So once they'll be paid out as soon as we can kind of figure out how much we owe them, pretty much. And
isn't where's JT on this list too? Didn't he do it? What did you add? Didn't you add something?
We just haven't.
Did you add the max button?
No. Well, I did I did the price conversion, and then
the price widget.
Most recently, I did that script that gets the weekly expenses for running a keeper.
Exactly, the weekly expenses, which are way higher than I thought. But so yeah, thanks for doing that.
Yeah.
So, high.
And lastly, we have these important bounties to discuss, which we already did when I was going through the bounty list there. So we can just pass over that. But yeah, we definitely need to add JT's and George's names to this list as soon as we get those bounty payouts to them. So awesome work, guys.
One other thing we've been talking about with the bounty program is, and I know that some of the other projects have done this, which is like a little swag bag. Like when you become a contributor, I'll send you like a t-shirt. I don't know. I think it's really easy for us to do something like that. The challenge, I think, is just like, what does the t-shirt look like, and how many do we need and what size? So I was thinking I would just order like a bunch of large t-shirts with the Ricochet logo, and then maybe like one other item, maybe like a mug or something, or a water bottle. And then just like put them in little boxes, and any of these contributors could just like, I don't know, fill out a form. I don't want everyone's address, but anyway, people who wanted to claim one we could figure out a way to ship one to you, so you could get it. Maybe we can ship it to like a local FedEx or UPS store near you, so you don't have to give me your address. I don't want your addresses. Anyway, yeah, so the swag bag, I think we should like list on here. I don't know. It's the only way to get swag initially. So the other thing we could do is just mint tokens for swag and claim them later. Anyway, go ahead, Sonny.
Yep. Yeah, definitely swag for sure. You all deserve it. And one last thing to talk about here is like currently our bounty program. It's we got the list out, but it would be nice if we could kind of formalize the process of submitting for a bounty and the payment process, so we're not like kind of DMing you for your address and all that. So we'll be putting together a Google Forms to Google Sheets system that basically makes it clear and easy for everyone to see and submit. So cool stuff. All right, so rexSLP has finally been deployed. Super awesome stuff. You can finally real-time invest into LP positions. I'm gonna turn it over to Mike to talk about how we got things up and running, and
so this is something we've been talking about and working on for a while. And I think like the tagline here is it's a real-time yield aggregator. So like the experience when you stream into this system is you will be receiving 3 tokens back. The first token you receive is the Sushi Swap liquidity pool token. And this is a ETH US dollar coin pool. I know it's not obvious on the UI, but it's actually really hard. It messes everything up if you have a token name that's like really long. So this is just rexSLP. We'll all just know that this is ETH USD under the hood. But what ends up happening when you stream in, and you can sort of see it in this transaction, is half of the amount of US dollar coins that have been streamed in get converted into ETH. So you have equal parts ETH and US dollar coin, And then what ends up happening is that ends up being deposited, or liquidity, that liquidity is then added to SushiSwap, and the contract will receive the SLP tokens. Once it receives the SLP tokens, it will then deposit them into the what's called mini chef contract, which people will probably know as SushiSwap farms. So it'll deposit it into the SushiSwap farm and receive back nothing. It actually doesn't receive anything back. It's just credited. And what it'll do is it will mint these rexSLP tokens. These are super tokens that basically just act as a coupon, which you can redeem at the exchange. So you receive these rexSLP tokens just as you would receive your ETH or your Maker, or your Matic. In addition to that, you're also receiving the rewards that accrue in the SushiSwap farm. So every hour, there's a certain amount of Matic and there's a certain amount of sushi rewards that have been credited to the contract in Mini Chef or in SushiSwap farms. And every time that we do this swap and deposit to get the LP tokens, we're also just harvesting everything out of there, and we're distributing it back to you three tokens. So we're not like selling and compounding. That's not what we do. We're just giving you all 3 tokens. And the reason we're just giving you all 3 tokens is the idea would be if you want to compound the sushi and the Matic, then what you should do is you should open a stream to the US dollar coin exchange for sushi and Matic, so that you're just creating this loop yourself, right? So you can kind of compose how you want to build this like stream, right? So if you want to just accrue the Matic and the sushi rewards, that's fine. A lot of people like to do that. If you want, you can stream them into another token. You can stream them back into US dollar coin and basically compound your streams. I don't know if it actually works like compounding, but you basically reinvest your rewards back into LP tokens so that you're only ever holding LP tokens and a little sushi and Matic. So yeah, anyway, this model also works for all the other yield bearing tokens. So now that we have this one and it works, it should be really easy. Just like we added a bunch of exchange pairs, it's really easy for us to just list more yield bearing tokens, right? So the next ones on our list are idle DAI, idle USDC. They're basically a yield aggregator as well. But with idle DAI, we're going to distribute a subsidy, so it fits the same model as the SLP tokens. Other things include Curve, StakeDAO. Those are 2 that I've used and I'm familiar with that I think we could wrap. And anyway, it's sort of an endless, any yield bearing token we can wrap and sort of do this process for. It works, it's good enough, but the problem is this was sort of an oversight I should have seen. This transaction is just so large because it does the harvest and the distributions and the swaps and everything. So if you notice on here too, like when it does do the harvest, it really harvests very little because there's very little money that's been deposited here. You see it's actually swapping like $1. I think the total amount in this transaction is $2.50 US dollar coin, $2.50 of US dollar. Yeah. So it's a really tiny harvest. So it's like 11 cents in gas, and the treasury makes almost nothing. It doesn't make anything really. The fees that it collects are just super, super tiny. So, it's a little tricky to say whether or not it's definitely not scalable, right? So, but it's an easy solution. There's actually a bounty for it too, if anyone wants to do it. I'm going to do it eventually, claim my own bounty, maybe. I don't know, maybe I'll just do it out of the goodness. But if anyone wants to split this up, there's I think $1,000 bounty for it because I really wanted it done. So, or I really want someone to do it. But yeah, that's pretty much it with these streamable tokens. That's the experience for the user, is that you're receiving 3 tokens coming in. And then of course you can do whatever you want with those tokens. You can let them accrue. You can stream them back into more US dollar coin and stream US dollar coin back into the SLP. Or you can just stream from US dollar coin into ETH. I don't think we support any kind of like routing, so you have to kind of do the routing yourself, go from Matic to USDC, USDC to ETH. But yeah, you could do something like that. Side note, something we need to update in the docs, the fee that's taken on the yield aggregation rewards from Mini Chef is actually 10%, right? So I think we could change that in the future, but I knew that this was going to be more gas intensive, and so I know that we're probably going to need a higher rewards. And plus, we're actually, if you think about running this, you don't ever really have to harvest your rewards, right? And you also get a lot of flexibility around what you do with those rewards, which you don't get when you use other yield aggregators. So other yield aggregators are just going to, under the hood, convert your rewards back into the want token as it's written in the code. No, this one, and Martin asks, is this rexSLP every 30 minutes? The answer is no. This one's only running every hour. And the reason is I just deployed it and I only added it to my keeper. So it's only running on my keeper, which runs at the top of the hour. The other keeper runs at the bottom of the hour. So he doesn't have that address yet. I'll Slack him today and see if I can get him the address. Actually, I'm not going to do this one more than every hour because I think this is going to be a temporary contract. If you're streaming, if you start streaming to this contract, just understand that it's like it's just experimental. And at some point you're going to have to stop your stream and open a new stream to a newer contract where this gas issue is fixed. Because the gas issue, I mean, I'm happy to spend, I think it was like $2. I calculated it's like $2.50 a day to run the rexSLP. But obviously that adds up, right? That adds up to like 60 something dollars, 75 even, I think. So it adds up. And if it's not making $75 a month in fees, it doesn't make sense to do it, obviously. So yeah, we'll split that up and we'll figure out the best way to do that. It's certainly these products, really all the products on Ricochet are designed to be long-term things. So if people come to these products and they start opening and closing their stream, you're going to experience the same problems you experience if you start doing that with traditional yield farming, which is you get screwed on the withdrawal fees, you get screwed on gas fees, and in general, you end up losing money. This contract is going to be almost the same because I don't think we'll be able to harvest as quickly as we do distributions because the harvesting rewards are significantly smaller than what accrues for the swap. So it'll be the case that the harvest will probably take place like, let's say every 3 hours or every 6 hours. And then the distributions for the underlying SLP tokens, the swap, deposit, add liquidity, that will happen every 30 minutes. That'll happen at a good frequency. But the harvest piece will probably happen at a slower frequency because we have to kind of wait until rewards add up to be enough for us to harvest. That's all I have on that. I don't know, Sonny, you want to add anything for these tokens?
No, no, it looks like you covered everything that could come to mind. So
yeah,
we talked about just the fact that we now have like 3 products out there.
Right. Yeah, no, I asked to add this slide. So this is important, I think, because if he asks like, well, what is Ricochet doing? Well, the answer is pretty simple, right? We run a DEX, right? Decentralized exchange. It's called a stream exchange. So it uses a novel method for doing the exchange, but it's still a DEX, right? It's just running a DEX. It's nothing really that complicated. And then we run a launchpad. Everyone knows what a launchpad is. Our launchpad, again, just uses a novel method specifically for like this price discovery thing. And then we run a yield aggregator, right? We have products, we have tokens that are yield aggregating tokens. And we have yield aggregating exchanges to get these tokens. So yeah, I mean, the fourth thing that we're going to be adding to this, and I had some conversations with some of the contributors about it, is the lending piece, which is, during the launch pad, there's no reason why we can't simultaneously bootstrap a lending market. If a team allocates a certain percentage of their inbound liquidity or the inbound funding that they get into another contract that I've created before all of this Ricochet stuff, that will let that money then be borrowed. And it's actually a very centralized system. It was designed to be a much slower and forgiving lending contract where basically the liquidations are at the discretion of the contract owner, right? So you can't just, you have the right as the contract owner to just liquidate people, but there isn't this kind of gas race, priority race to liquidate people. So like if there are problems with the token, the project owners would literally really have to like trigger the liquidations, pay to liquidate their holders. And I don't think that I mean, in that model, it's a very forgiving money market that they create, where you can buy the token. If you buy the token, you can then borrow against the token, using some of the funds that were paid for, right? So there's instant liquidity, but it's because of the collateralization ratio, it'll always be less liquidity, because you're only be able to borrow like 25%, 50%, whatever you set is your sort of fixed rate that people can borrow. So anyway, yeah, we have 3 products live now, and we'll have 1 more coming, which is this lending thing. And it's really just I see it as kind of an extension on the Launchpad, not necessarily its own thing, but when you do launch, if a team is, into it, they can bootstrap a lending market, and that makes it look good, because then if they can successfully run a lending market and make money on interest, then there's no reason other projects wouldn't also want that listed on their platforms, because they would then make money on interest. So anyway, that's it. You have anything else to add, Sonny?
Nope, nothing I'd add. I think part of this is just branding. So the fact that we have 3 products, we can't just say, we are Ricochet Exchange, like we are a collection of different real-time investing products. And so
Yeah,
we may like come up with some naming convention to make this more brandable and adjust from that.
yeah. I don't know how we brand the Rex tokens.
Yeah,
Rex tokens doesn't accurately describe what's going on, but I guess it kind of makes sense. The experience of the rexSLP token, it's going to, when you close your stream, your Rex tokens will disappear and you'll get SLP tokens back. So the Rex token is designed to only exist while you're streaming. So as soon as you stop your stream, any Rex SLP tokens you have get immediately converted into SLP tokens. So that's why I'm like, call them Rex tokens. Like, are people going to be transferring? If you start transferring these things around, the behavior, you won't experience what you think you experience, which is when you send the token to someone, they should be getting the yield. It's actually not how it works. But anyway, that's it.
Awesome. All right, so now we can start talking just general updates. So from the business development side, we have gotten in touch with a protocol called Float Protocol. They're essentially a floating crypto-backed stablecoin. So I'm gonna close that message. And so they reached out to us with interest in bootstrapping their liquidity on Polygon through Ricochet. And so essentially we will plan on offering them kind of like a full package. So they can start off, getting their assets into people's hands using our launchpad. Then once that's progressed, we can, provide the ability to add liquidity through our rexSLP tokens, and then, put a stream market on top of that. So that's a great business opportunity. For those of you who aren't familiar, it's a rather popular protocol. So we're happy to be making that connection, which is awesome. The other thing I was going to talk about was merch, but Mike already talked about that. Yeah, Mike is always knocking down these like general points I say for the end. So
I was actually going to say, I don't think I have any general updates, because I think I've already given a bunch of updates.
Right. Yeah, so
the float thing, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I was thinking about that before we got started. It also gives us an opportunity to see like, how does a real customer behave, right? Like, because we know how the streamers behave, right? We're all pretty much streamers, so we all know that, but we haven't seen like a project team approach us yet. So this will be our first opportunity to see how it goes with them. Things I'm looking forward to is I would like to float the lending idea. Like, hey guys, like, do you want to, but they might already have, I think, a lending market, well, whatever. So, but yeah, so I'm excited. I'm excited to see what a real project team thinks of the suite of offerings we have for project teams, right? We don't have any project teams that have used our system yet. So except Sonny and I, and the rest of us, we're using it. And it's great. It works great. So
yeah. And speaking of project teams, we did speak at the MakerDAO Core Unit Tools call, the 10th one, last week. And so that was a great call. I think the value of going back and watching that call will be you get to see the the true vision of Ricochet Exchange and what we're trying to accomplish here, and just the nitty-gritty of like the business side of this thing, and really get into the essence of what we're building. So I'll put a link to that in the description of this video, and I definitely highly recommend watching it if you want to understand what's going on here on a deeper level. And also, speaking of another general update, we did add the business development channel to our Discord, so people can go on there and talk about business opportunities, partnerships, new media creation, marketing, etc., promotion. A lot of good stuff is going to be going down in that channel. So it was more than called for. It's finally up, and so happy to see all the discussion that's already starting in there. We're also going to be opening up a bounties channel because currently the bounties talk is kind of popping up all over the Discord. It's in proposals, it's in general, it's in business development. So we need one place to have that talk, and so that will be coming up in bounties very soon. I think I'll get around to that today. And another thing, I think Mike also hit on this, unfortunately, is dev calls. And so oh no, we were talking about this earlier before the call started, but the idea is to have weekly cadence of calls. And so we'll have, I was thinking about having these community calls on a bi-weekly basis,
right?
And then having on the off weeks have dev calls, so where we can just talk about in a structured fashion, what has been developed, what bounties have been captured that changed kind of our stuff on the technical side, things that need to be done, just a nice kind of dev call.
Review larger pull requests. I imagine eventually there'll be more people working on Solidity, and that will require probably like a couple of us get on a call for 30 minutes to review the code. So I imagine a lot of stuff like that'll happen as well. Sharing parts of the code base. I have some ideas around like restructuring. So the dev call is mostly like a time to get all of the technical people who are technically interested together to learn about the code base, learn about the technology under the hood, contribute to the technology, and just generally be part of the the process.
Yep. Yeah, and the last thing I was gonna talk about was Rex lending, but Mike already touched on that.
We'll slide next time.
Go back on the rexSLP slide, and he spoke on it there. So that's that for me on general updates. Mike, would you add anything?
No, I think that's fine. We can do questions now, and I have to leave at 10:50, so I think we could have, what is it, almost 20 minutes to do some questions.
Yep. So that concludes our part of the community call number 6 presentation. We'll now open the floor to anyone that wants to ask questions, and we will answer them.
Hi again. Hi.
Yeah,
I'm Martin. Just now the record's on. I'm with Aladdin DAO right now, and we're going to have people like on a payroll soon, and we're going to pay out token for them, and also like stables. But it's all on mainnet. So I don't know. I'm more interested in the vesting thing maybe, because if you look at token vesting, basically is streaming a token over time. And my question is, do you see a solution somehow you can? I have the idea, that maybe that you can make like a backup token. You have the token on mainnet. We have the token on mainnet, and we don't have it on Matic, of course. But somehow, I don't know if there's like a solution where you can, like some redeemable token which people then can redeem on mainnet. I don't know. Create a token on your side, a certain amount, and then people can stream it to themselves, and then they can convert if they want to mainnet or I know it. I understand. I got the technology behind it. I don't think it's easy, but it's just what I see, what I would need from a user perspective or DAO perspective right now, because our token is not in mainnet. And
so it's an investing problem.
Yeah, and it's not the bad thing, but what I see with DAOs is that they have a big issues. It's like my second DAO I'm working on, because the government system is paired to the token. If you move token off to another chain, which you can, we could like decide to reach over token to Matic and then do the vesting.
Yeah.
But the thing is, they have to vote on certain stuff. Of course, during if they don't have access to the token, they can't vote with this. But if you imagine you get vested token on Matic, but then you have it on Matic, but you can't vote for decisions because your DAO is like living on mainnet. This is it's an issue for every DAO basically. You know that you try to go
I've kind of
multi-chain.
seen something.
Yeah.
Have you seen Coordinate on mainnet?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I really like that idea, but I was thinking, well, how do we do that for Ricochet if it's on mainnet? And my thought was, well, maybe we can bridge Rick to mainnet. Kind of sounds like the reverse that you're talking about, which is can a DAO bridge stuff over here to do business using these new tools. MakerDAO is doing that. We should really ask them, like, what did they do? I mean, they're paying people in DAI, which has obviously been bridged like a lot.
Yes.
They're still doing governance on mainnet, of course, because they have it contractually written. But yeah, I mean, we could do a vesting thing with a stream, right? You can set up a stream that says like you're gonna earn this many tokens over this period of time, and I think that's great, and I think we should do that, especially for like larger team allocations or larger contracts or proposals. You know, anything over like 5 figures, we should probably like pay out over like a period of time. So there's an opportunity to like stop it if something goes wrong. But people also have the guarantee that it's gonna continue to come in. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good idea. What I could see is creating a contract that like initially when you deploy it, you fund it with some tokens, and then you specify a vesting schedule for each address, and then it just will, you know, those streams will just open, and then maybe have conditions in which you can modify those streams or something, or maybe there's the owner of it is multi-sig and they have the ability to modify the streams. Really, for a lot of these tools, the hang up is because that actually doesn't even require really that wouldn't require a contract be written. You could just like put the funds and manually open up the streams. But what the problem with that is, it's just a tricky thing to like manage, and it's a tricky thing to visualize. Like if you're saying, yes, we did this, these people are being paid these streams. Well, how can you see that that's actually happening, right? Like there's not right now, there isn't a good way to log in and see like, oh yeah, look, like everyone. So I could see opportunities there where like we could create, in addition to the launchpad, if they say that they've vested their tokens, we don't even need to necessarily make the way that they do it. We could just show a visual of it. So it's like, look, you can verify, like here we're showing like, here's their wallet, here's all their outbound streams, here's who they're going to, here's the rates. And
because
you know, it's something like,
you know, the idea is why the reason why I'm interested in streaming anyways, because if you look, you know, we have like more payroll system. You work over bounties, but we have like a payroll system. And I guess that, you know, as long as if somebody starts really adding value on a payroll system, in fact, you want to start pay me immediately, you know. And now he has to wait like 1 month till he gets money out of his work, and he has no contract. He has like nothing. It's just an agreement. You agree and you have a talk, then you onboard, and then he's on your team. That's how we do it right now. And it would be very nice, and you know, just start streaming value to these people from day one. Because if after 10 days you disagree because you think, yeah, maybe this guy, it's not the fit as you are thinking, then you just stop the stream. But I guess we can do this right now.
Here's what I was sort of thinking was, I was thinking that what we would do is we would create squads, like Maker has core units, whatever you want to call them, teams, squads, whatever. I like the term squads. So you make squads, and then each squad gets a monthly allocation, and that allocation is streamed to the squad. And then within whoever's a member of the squad, and membership is like basically purchased with RIC tokens, right? So if you want to be a member, you just put up some RIC tokens. Now you're a member. It's divided based on how many RIC tokens you put up. And what we would have to bake into that is a slashing mechanism, which is to say, if somebody like puts a bunch of RIC tokens and isn't doing the work, then the other participants in the pool can essentially vote to take those tokens.
Yeah,
so
but
that's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah, that's really forward. You know, this is like, if you look like the traditional world and what you're telling me, this is like a step ahead. I'm talking,
yeah,
you know.
I know.
Like the thing is not the problem, but we do onboard some people who are not used to, yeah, they know crypto, of course, but you also have people who come from a traditionally payment way, and they yeah, just that what you're telling me is just, yeah, takes
Yeah.
another
Martin, I think
10
what
years.
really
Yes,
blows
Because then you
people
can
away.
set your own, you can really, as a contributor to a squad, you set your own salary based on how
yeah,
many
that's
Ricks
an
you want
it's
to
a
put
very
up.
nice idea. You know, the thing is, we have the intention to maybe use coordinate for the lower
Yeah.
lower levels, but if you look, you know, you are really bootstrapping your organization, and this is yeah, it's great to see, you know, also for me, because but our project is like we had like a team who has been working in the background. The project is almost finished, and my task is like to DAOize this, so we get contributors. And from my experience, maybe it's different for you. From my experience, you need, you know, some people who are do steady work. You know,
Yeah.
the bounty thing is nice,
I
but
actually think what's interesting is I've offered contributors, not at Ricochet, but at other projects, steady pay. And some people are actually uncomfortable taking that because they don't necessarily
yes,
know if they're going to be able to contribute at a steady rate. I also think that things should be basically paid on a like project proposal basis as opposed to just like your salary. The thing I don't like about salaries is it allows you to get too comfortable and then people don't end up working.
yeah,
But that
yeah,
is to say that like I definitely would like to see bounties stepped up. Like money out the door needs to go up. We did $400 worth of Rick last week, which is about 1,300 Rick. I would like to basically double, triple, 10x that so that people are getting paid with Rick. There's no reason for us to keep over 8 million Rick in the Rick
no,
treasury. It's not
yeah,
doing anything for
yes,
anyone
yes. Yeah, you
when
should
it could
use
be
it.
doing a lot. Exactly,
Yes.
exactly. So that's why if you notice, I did open up basically without any kind of vote, which I should have done some kind of vote, but maybe I'll do like a symbolic vote now that it's out there. But you'll see there's a ton of bounties. There's bounties up to like thousands of dollars on these projects because, you know, it's really important work and we need people to do it. And, you know, if you can get paid in Rick and you can like not, well, obviously you can't sell your Rick, but just hold your Rick for a while. You know, those bounties, the value of those bounties could be much higher. So, you know, you could make a living off of Rick right now. Obviously, like people will buy it from you. Like if you need to sell your Rick and you come into the Discord and you're like, hey, I have a bunch of Rick I want to get rid of, someone will buy it. I guarantee you someone will probably buy it from you. You're not going to get the price that, because think about it, the only other way to get it is you have to sit and wait. But there are people out there that just believe in Rick and, you know, they see that, yo, this is like a useful thing to be voting on. We can do all this stuff. And so they'll buy it from you if you want to sell it. And so if you're a contributor, you know, you could be selling that Rick, but I'm not sure that's a good idea. You know, you kind of want to hang on for the ride in the beginning.
Yes, yes.
So anyway, yeah, all is to say,
how much do you take on the launch pad? How much it's the
it's
fee?
negotiable. I mean, the fee's negotiable. I would like to say 10% and hold firm at 10% because I think
That's
that
very
look,
high.
it's a completely novel system.
Because you know,
and we
in
need
the
the money.
last project, this is more about business or ideas for business. The last project, I had a team and we tried to make like a launch pad, but we failed somehow. And it has been auction based. And I did think a lot about selling tokens. And what's nice about selling tokens is that you can like, yeah, Ricochet. In fact, if you take like 10% of the tokens you sell, you just keep it and then you have a treasury. You know, the project itself then grows a treasury.
Yeah, yeah.
But I had
Like if we
discussion,
take
you know, some of
10%, if we take 10% of their token while it's streaming,
yeah.
and then that token then like 10x's, it's like, wow,
Yes,
all the
yes.
fees are much higher now. So
Yeah.
it's a good idea. I don't necessarily know though if we'd want the incentive to be that Ricochet holds these project tokens.
Yes.
I feel like there's some kind of conflict of interest there, right? Like we own the exchange and we're a token holder for these projects. I'm not sure. We'd have to vote on it, right?
Yeah,
Do we
but
want to
you know,
take...
basically the main problem with this launchpad is that, you know, I did analyze different launchpads, and if the launchpad is self-listing, you get a lot of scammers at the end. Maybe
Yeah, I
not
don't
for
think we'll ever have...
streaming.
I think we will have
Streaming is
self-listing, but not on the website. We'll probably let people like use the tool if they want
Yes,
to run
yes.
their own,
Yeah.
but not on the web. We have to control, we have to curate, I guess is the right word, curate what's on the
Yeah, I think
website also,
if
so.
you can enforce a length, you know, if you say every sale has to be longer than 1 month, then maybe
Yeah.
you don't get the scammers, because the scammers,
They want money right away.
they don't have to. And then after,
Plus,
you know,
1 month is a long time for people to figure
Yes.
out you're scamming them.
yes, exactly. This is the main reason.
Yeah.
I think maybe it's even
I-
this, you know, it's quite scam resistant, maybe.
What you're getting, yeah, I know, this is actually great because I haven't even thought about this, but yeah, what you're getting is actually a safer launchpad experience because there isn't going to be this wham bam sum of money that shows up in anyone's account. And regardless of whether you're a scammer or not, if you get like $10 million to show up in an Ethereum wallet, you know, just look at what happened to Chef Nomi. Like the incentive is there for you to like secure the bag, right? It's not,
Yeah.
he wasn't dumb to do that. You know, he built something and it blew up and he sold all his tokens and took the ETH. You know, it wasn't, you know, obviously it's not a good look, but it wasn't outside of what he should be doing, right? Like, but yeah, so I think that projects that do over a longer period of time, it'll just be a better look. And I think over
Yes, of
time, like
course.
Ricochet becomes the standard, which is like, there's no more of this, like, oh, we just launch and everyone buys it and price goes up and then someone
In a way,
dumps
it's
on
like
us.
some
Instead, it'll basically
continuous.
be like projects will
It,
sort of have a healthy growth rate, right?
yeah,
As more
it's
people
some
come
form
in,
of continuous raising. You know, you continuous
it
raise
is.
money,
And
and
that's a
then
huge thing for us right now. I don't know who's streaming to the Rick Launchpad, but thank you, because those funds there allow us to do more interesting things.
yeah,
We're not paying ourselves out of those funds because we don't need to, but we have the funds there that we can do things like the lending products, right? So we can make this lending pool because we have, I think at this point, we have 8,000 US dollar coins sitting there. So everyone who's participating in the Launchpad and like believes that, you know, Rick is something they want, you know, the token is something they're interested in, they want, you know, those people are like the people that fund this work, right? So it works the same way for that project, which is immediately as they launch, they see, oh, look, now we're getting X dollars per month, right? That's our budget that we have to work with, right? Or whatever token they're raising, ETH, US dollar coin.
yeah. I have to leave. Sorry, I have to leave too. I
Yeah,
guess.
we have to actually leave too.
Yeah,
So this
yeah,
is
yeah.
perfect timing. JT, do you have any questions or anything? Comments before we go?
No, I mean, I was gonna ask about the rexSLP stuff, but you know, you guys pretty much covered it all throughout the video.
Cool.
So
All right, we actually have
Great.
one question from the Q&A form.
Oh, nice.
Obviously,
Nice.
the question is, any plan of Arbitrum or Optimism? The answer to that is, we're just going to go where Superfluid goes. So, you
Yeah.
know, if Superfluid is up in Arbitrum or Optimism, then we might show up there as
Yeah.
well.
I would like to do die. I just don't,
XDie?
at the moment, yeah, XDie, right? XDie. I would like to do XDie. See you later, Martin. But
Martin.
I think at the moment we have to figure out the keeper economics first. Once we figure out the economics of the keeper and having keeper system run, then we'll be good to go. Now, what's the solution? Is the solution to integrate with something like Keeper or some of these keeper networks like Gelato? I don't really think so. I think the solution is just get a little bit more clever about how the fees and the subsidies are distributed. For example, we could use the RIC token to basically be reimbursing the gas for our keepers, right? Or we could just, from the treasury, we could just send our keepers a budget, and then they could work in the budget that we give them. So I think once we figure that out, we'll go to XDie and we'll do the same thing on XDie, because I do see there's a lot of XDie volume. I mean, there's stuff on there. People are doing things. Same thing for Arbitrum, Optimism, or whatever, honestly, whatever network, whatever EVM compatible network that Superfluid's on, we'll do it. We just have to figure out how to do a sustainable keeper network. And I personally don't think the solution is like use one of those keeper networks, but I could be proven wrong if someone wants to look more into it.
Yep.
All right, now I have to go.
All right, see you, Mike.
See you later.